Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Week 13 NFL Contest Selection Show. It's your host, Jesse, here. Hope everyone out there had a wonderful and profitable happy Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day, and hope you're rolling into the weekend with some money in your pocket. I took it in the teeth this weekend. We started out 0-1 so far, but before we get into that, let me discuss some of the other things that have transpired already in Week 13 with the Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and Black Friday games while we wait for the release of the top 5 selections for Week 13 of the Circa Millions contest. The Circa Survivor Thursday game, it was an absolute bloodbath. All of the favorites lost. All the big selections lost. Outside of the Bears being more popular than the Lions, I mean, this field has been just completely demolished. There's 49 entries remaining out of 18,600 plus entries in this contest. There's 49 entries remaining, and they still have to pick a game this Sunday and Monday. We're going to see more people eliminated. I said there'll be 7 people at the end of 20 weeks. That might be being a little generous there. Somebody had posted, I think it was the Survivor Atlas had posted on X, over under 5.5 entries winning in the Survivor. I said 7, but it could be more like 4 because we're going to see some people eliminated this weekend. Now, there's some big favorites this weekend, so there might be some, if they have them available to them, there might be some easy picks. But man, Eagles losing outright to the Bears, Ravens losing outright to the Bengals. Those were 2 games where each team was a +7 favorite. Eagles at home. Ravens were they at home? Yeah, they were at home as well. I mean, just tough. Chiefs, we were on the Chiefs. That was one of our picks. We started out 0-1. They just struggled on defense, and I'm so mad at myself because I had originally said I liked the Cowboys in the early lines video, and why I flipped. I should have known better when because they played in that overtime game on such short rest that they were going to be gassed, and they just couldn't get. They had no answers on third down for the Cowboys passing game. Just a tough loss there. And the Lions losing at home to that's a tough one as well. I like the Packers as well. That was one of the first 5 that I had picked that I removed because I was kind of concerned about the Lions historically against the spread. So we didn't use the Packers at all or either side in that one, but ended up going with the Chiefs, which was a loser, and also had to submit all 5 picks early because of that. So kind of disappointed in our other picks. But the Circa Grandissimo is officially over. I said it would be over by Thanksgiving. It ended on Thanksgiving. It actually ended on Black Friday because 3 of the entries had the Eagles, and the other 3, I believe, had the Ravens. So all 6 lost. So the contest is officially over. Each entry walking away with $1.15 million. This was the $100,000 entry fee, $6.9 million total prize pool. Now, 2 of these people have a number 2 next to their entry, so they're at least in for $200,000. And I know a lot of these are groups of people like the Dream Team, FTW Degenerates. These are the goofballs. They were teams of people, so they'll be splitting that amongst them. But you know what? It's gonna be a nice Christmas, that's for sure. There'll be some gifts underneath the tree this year for these 6 entries. So congratulations to them. Grandissimo is officially over. As it's amazing that they all lost, and the fact that the first 3 lost on on Thursday. So on the Black Friday game, had Philadelphia actually been able to win, it would have been 3 entries, and they would have moved on to the following week, or maybe split it, chopped it between the 3. But now they get an automatic chop, which makes it easier. They didn't have to work anything out. Everybody can, get their money and get their 1099-G and divide that up with the them and the IRS. But it's going to be a nice Christmas for these people. Now, these are the lines that we have for this week. Obviously, 4 games have already been played, and I've already released my picks for week 13 because we used the Kansas City game. The NFL contest show has already been up and available on YouTube here. But we'll go ahead and let me see if they got the 5 up yet. Top 5. No, they haven't released it yet. I'm not surprised. It's a little later than 6 o'clock on the dot just because of the holiday. I'm sure things aren't moving as fast as normal. But yeah, they're going to have the Survivor release. Yeah, here we got Kansas City -3. That one's already lost. Fortunately, we got the Colts -4.5. And now we're stuck with a stale number because I submitted early for that Thursday game. Saints +6. We'll see what happens. Kamara's out. Looks like Olave may not play. Miami coming off the bye. I liked it at the time, but I think there's better spots I could have picked. But you know what? This line has actually moved down to 5.5 at some places. So you're getting reverse line movement. We've got the Washington Commanders. The Denver Broncos are overwhelmingly getting more tickets and more money, yet this line hasn't moved off of 5.5. So, we'll see what happens. We're getting McLaurin back. They're getting healthy. Denver's only won by 3 points in their last 3 games. So, I'm rooting for Marcus Mariota and this Washington team to pull it out and at least get us to cover. And then our 5th and final pick is the New York Giants +7.5. I was hoping it was going to be Jameis, but you know what? The numbers actually say that the Giants have been better with Jackson Dart. So we'll see what we're going to get from them. New England missing some of their offensive linemen. They're susceptible to tight ends and running backs catching the ball. So maybe we can see this Giants hang tough with this New England team. But I'm very interested to see the top 5, which hasn't been released yet. I guarantee you the Lions are probably going to be in it just because the Lions have been a top 5 selection in almost every week of this contest. And here we go. Now we've got the top 5 available and ready. And they're not number 1, but they are number 2, the Detroit Lions. Number 1 is Houston +4.5, and we are on the Colts -4.5. So, it's good to be fading the number 1 pick. I'm sure some people chose this. Not only is Houston playing good, they're getting C.J. Stroud back, but also the line value of, the fact that it's 3.5 now at most places. Houston +3.5. So if they didn't submit their picks early for the Thursday slate, or if they waited till Friday, that's when the line started to move. But we'll see what happens with that. We've seen lines move in those directions before, and that team end up not covering the spread anyway. Last week, New York Giants against the Detroit Lions. The Lions were -10. And that line closed at like -12.5 to -13.5, depending on where you were at. And yet, the Lions needed overtime just to get a 6-point win. The Giants had them on the ropes. They were winning by double digits at one point in that game. But Houston, number 1. So we are contrarian to the top pick. So, okay. We'll see. We'll see. The top 5 has not been killing it this year. Number 2 is the Detroit Lions. We know this is now a loss. as the Lions lost outright to the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I should have considered that I knew the Lions would be a popular side because they're always a popular side, it seems like, in this contest this year. I mean, it's justified. They've been very good against the spread over the last few years. But I should have known it was a perfect contest play to go with Green Bay, a very good team, facing an opponent that you know is going to be very popular that you can still get a point with. But I guarantee you Green Bay at least had 1,000 entries. We'll see when we get the full list. Buffalo, number 3 on this list, -3. Who are they taking on again? Buffalo is facing, the Steelers. So they're getting Rodgers back, but I guess, I liked Buffalo too in the beginning. My early notes, they were one of the two. I had Buffalo and Detroit, but obviously Detroit was a loser anyway. But we'll be rooting for the Steelers, I guess, since we don't have a side in this game. Cleveland +5.5, taking on the 49ers on the road. So they're at home taking on the 49ers. I mean, all right. I'm not on a side on this game either. So we'll see what we get from Shedeur Sanders against a better defense. The Robert Saleh defense, they don't normally blitz a lot. They usually try to get pressure with their 4 down linemen and, leave the other people in coverage and, let the linebackers roam in the run game. So we could see Shedeur maybe struggle against this better defense, but, I was on him. That was one of our 2 wins last week because we went 2-3. Was the Browns +4 against the Raiders, and they won outright. It's really going to matter if Judkins can run the ball against this 49ers team. And, Brock Purdy, he struggled in that Carolina game against Carolina on Monday night, but they still won. Even with him throwing all those interceptions, they still won. And he'll get the rust out. But Cleveland is a good defense, too. They can rush the passer, obviously put pressure on the quarterback, maybe make him commit some turnovers. But we've got a big matchup with Trent Williams when he does line up with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, they will move him around, obviously, to get him better matchups than having to go against Trent Williams. But, yeah, this is an interesting one at number 4. People putting a lot of faith in Shedeur. I was on him last week. I couldn't get behind him this week. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, -3 at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Baker Mayfield banged up. Doesn't look like Bucky Irving will be playing, I think. I think he is going to play, but I think he might be on a pitch count. I think they're talking about easing him into the game, which makes sense. You don't want him to get hurt right out of the gate. You got other guys that are still contributing. And Godwin's back. They've got some, but, it's all about Baker Mayfield and how, what kind of condition he's in. And Jacoby Brissett's actually been playing well. I know this Arizona team's been losing, but they've been competitive in every game. So it's a real shot. This could end up being a 3-point game like last week where they lost by 3 and pushed against the Jags. But, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look and see if the full list is up. Here we go. All right, so we've got the full list now. So let's see. Wow. I am shocked that there was only 496 entries on the Packers. That's incredible. Cowboys were the more popular side in this one, and we were on the Chiefs, and the Chiefs lost outright as 3.5-point favorites. Again, they lost. They didn't cover it last week either when they only won by 3. Or the week before that when they were -3.5 against the Broncos and didn't cover that one either. 3.5 in the Chiefs just seems to be a bad number. More people were on the Bengals than the Ravens, but it was a very unpopular game all the way around. And then the Bears were just a slight favorite over the Eagles, but again, another game not very popular. But when you have all 32 teams playing. You have 16 games to choose from. There's not going to be a lot of big numbers. Like obviously, there's nobody over 2,000 this week because there's just so many options to choose from. You've got a lot of low numbers in some of these games. But look at the Texans, about just 700 more entries on the Texans than the Colts. We are on the Colts, so we'll be rooting hard for that one. Texans the number one pick. And the Cardinals, look at the difference here. I mean, only 460 for the Cardinals, 1271 for the Bucs. So big Arizona fans this weekend. Obviously, I'm a Falcons fan on top of that. I want them the contrarian side to win. I also want the Bucs to lose. And hopefully the Falcons can beat the Jets this week, although that's not one of our plays either. Jags and Titans, people getting behind this Titans team that's covered 3 games in a row. I've lost 2 of them. Even though I keep saying over and over and over again, I've said it multiple times that the Titans are going to have more ATS wins than they would straight-up wins, and that's proving true. I think they've got, 5 ATS wins now, and they're only have 1 straight-up victory. 5 or 6 now, I believe. As a team that was really bad against the spread over the last few years, like historically bad, for them to have that many covers already this year, yeah, man, I fucking missed that boat. Rams and Panthers. Panthers got handled by the San Francisco 49ers. Now they're taking on arguably the best team in the football right now, the Los Angeles Rams, minus 10.5. And again, low numbers, but the Panthers are the more popular side. This is obviously a double-digit spreads. Typically are not as popular just because people don't really want to get involved, but Rams traveling across the country to take on the Panthers. Matthew Stafford playing at an MVP level. I believe he's only got 2 interceptions on the year. Incredible. When you're protecting the ball like that, and then your defense is able to create maybe 1 or 2 a game, that is like a recipe for dominant teams. When you protect the ball like that on offense and you don't give up possessions, it's just so much easier on the other sides of that team, the defense and the special teams. They're not always put in bad positions. And obviously Adams been unstoppable in the red zone, and Nakua is just playing at a offensive player of the year level. I mean, he's got to be back in the conversation now after missing the time with the injuries. But yeah, this is a tough one. Saints and Dolphins, all right. We're on the Saints plus the 6, 578 to 1,025. So the Dolphins are the more popular side. So let's go Saints, man. We need this contrarian win. We need to get back in it. We need at least a 4-1, and because we're down 1 already with the Chiefs. And I can't afford to have any more losing weeks. Going 2-3 last week killed me, especially with the Steelers losing by 3 when the line was 2.5. That was brutal. So we need the Saints to at least cover the spread, but hopefully win it outright. I know the Dolphins have been playing better, but we'll see how they come after they went into the bye fat and sassy, while the Saints are coming out with some young guys trying to prove that they have a spot on this team. I'm watching some of the college games. This Illinois Northwestern game, that shit was awesome earlier. It was snowing pretty good earlier. Now it's stopped. All the other games are kind of, I mean, Virginia's beating Virginia Tech 17-0. It's not really much. The Iron Bowl is pretty close, but Alabama's leading, I think 17-3. Yeah, 17-3. Not very competitive right now, other than the Illinois Northwestern game. Falcons and Jets, another low-picked game, but still, Falcons are the more popular side, laying 2.5 against Tyrod Taylor and the Jets. I don't know. With Drake London out, it really gives me concerns. I know Kirk Cousins was able to get the win, but that was against with the Saints missing some field goals and some other mistakes that they had made, and they lost Alvin Kamara and had to use Taysom Hill as their running back. So, yeah, I didn't want to get involved in this game. Obviously, I hope the Falcons win as a Falcons fan, but The Jets have been able to pull some tricks out of their ass, especially on special teams, and I think that could be a spot where they could exploit the Falcons and maybe get points that they don't score on offense, non-offensive score. 49ers and Browns. This was the Browns are in the top 5. Niners getting 1,005, so still over 1,000, just barely, but not a big difference. 340 something, 348. 348 more on the Browns. Niners obviously need this game just to maintain a spot in the wild card because you've got the Rams out there leading the West, and then you've got Seattle, you've got and then the Niners, and then you've got who else is coming up? The Bears are leading their division, the Eagles, the Bucks are leading, and then you've got other teams on their tail, so they're going to need to win this game. Laying 5.5, it's just a funky number. It's one of those you better hope it don't go to overtime games because you could either win or lose it depending on who wins the coin flip and gets the ball first. Vikings and Seahawks. Another double-digit spread, low picks. More people riding with the Seahawks. Nobody believing in Brosner, the undrafted free agent from Minnesota. From what I understand, I guess the guy was pretty accurate as a passing quarterback. Now he's facing a very difficult task going on the road in Seattle, facing that Mike McDonald defense. Though Cam Ward converted all kinds of fourth downs and all kinds of third downs against them last week and was able to score points in that game. I don't know what kind of performance you'll get from him this week with the rookie quarterback playing. I mean, you do have a lot of good players around him, and if the Vikings are smart, they're going to call a very easy game plan, a lot of running plays, a lot of, jet sweeps, short passes, and then take a couple of shots here and there, but really lean on their defense. I mean, Sam Darnold still had some turnover issues, so, you got to – it's a big number here to be laying with the Seahawks. I laid that big number against the Titans and got burned on that one. That's why I have it in my notes. No more Minnesota, but I'm also staying off Seattle right now as long as they're laying double digits. I can't lay double digits with Seattle right now. As good as their defense has been and their offense. I mean, they can't put it all together. They're kicking field goals against Tennessee, and this Vikings team is good. Flores, he's going to have a good game plan, so yeah, this is a tough one with the double digits. No, not surprised, though, that it's low, but I am kind of surprised to see how many people are on the Seahawks. Buffalo, big favorite, the number 3 pick this week in the top 5, going up against the Steelers, and they're, over 800 more people on Buffalo than there is on Pittsburgh on the road. Not believing in Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense against the Bills. Bills have looked, they've looked flawed this year. I mean, obviously facing Houston in that pass rush, Josh Allen was sacked a bunch of times. He was holding on to the ball too long, but yeah, he took a beating in that game. Now they got to go on the road again and play in Pittsburgh, a tough place to play, another defense that can rush the passer. We'll be rooting for the Steelers. I'm not on them this week because they burned me last week against Chicago. But yeah, I'll be rooting for Pittsburgh. Raiders and Chargers. I kind of wanted to go with the Raiders in this one, but I couldn't get up behind either side on this. Who's playing quarterback for the Raiders? Is the Chargers offensive line going to be all right? I mean, Herbert's playing well. The defense is good. This is a big number, but the Chargers could probably cover this, but they're the favorite, 900 to 489, so almost 400 and something, 414, 417 more. So nearly double on the Chargers. So once again, be rooting for Vegas as we don't have a side in this one. And then the Broncos just outside the top 5 with 1,159 to 734 for the Commanders, and we are on Washington. So we will be rooting hard for Marcus Mariota, McLaurin. Hopefully they can run the ball against this Broncos team. I know I'm kind of upset with myself because now they've got Patrick Surtain back. It's just they're looking a little healthier on defense for the Broncos. Commanders have struggled on offense. I was trying to go contrarian and try to make a move, and this could work out. I mean, we'll see. This line has been stuck at 5.5 in the market, and the Broncos are getting 70+% of the money. So, I mean, it's like, why haven't they moved the number up to 6 or even 6.5 for the Commanders if that much money and tickets are going on the Broncos? It's because they're comfortable with the number where it is. And the fact that the Broncos have only won by 3 in their last 3 games, I mean, the Commanders have every chance to at least hang tight in this game and keep it close. So I'm comfortable with being on Washington, but it does give me concern with the Broncos getting back Surtain, and but he's playing with a harness also, is what they said. So how effective is he really going to be? His first game back wearing a harness. Maybe he's trying to come back a little early because of the 3 that they've won the last 3 games without him. And you start to get a little antsy that, maybe you're not as valuable to the team as you thought you were. He wants to be back out there with his teammates and, contribute. Maybe he could be a liability with McLaurin and these receivers if everybody's healthy. And the defense for the Washington Commanders is fairly healthy too. Quinn's got to come up with a good game plan. They said that they play a lot of zone, and Bo Nix struggles against the zone. So we're gonna hope the Commanders can get it done for us on Sunday Night Football. And then again, wow, a lot more people on the Giants. We're on the so actually this is the number 6 pick, right? Yeah, and then this is number 7. It looks like, yeah. All right, a lot of love for the Giants. Again, this line has moved. The Patriots are also getting a significant amount of the tickets and the money. I mean, we can look it up real quick. And yet they're this line's moved. They're getting 70% of the tickets, only 65 or no, I'm sorry. They're getting 72% of the tickets and 92% of the money. And yet this line in a lot of places has actually moved to 7, to where the consensus is -7. So why is this line moving, reverse line movement when that much money is on the Patriots? Hopefully we're on the right side here. I mean, they're getting Jackson Dart back. They should be a better offense. They've got an opportunity with the Patriots' injuries to the offensive line, and they lost one of their key guys on the defensive line. So the Giants can potentially be able to move the ball with their tight ends, running backs, throwing it to the running backs where the Patriots struggle. It looks like, I guess, Thibodeau is going to be out, but the rest of the Giants' defense looks like they're playing guys that were questionable throughout the week. So yeah, if they can get this pass rush on May and at least keep it tight, man, Dart's going to move the ball. He can run the ball with his legs. He's got to protect himself, obviously, but, take advantage when you need to. We could see the Giants potentially pull off the upset in this game and break this, 9-game winning streak for the Patriots they've been on with their I guess the Patriots have the easiest strength of schedule so far this year, and the Giants actually have had the most difficult strength of schedule. So the actual numbers for these teams are a little bit deceiving when you're just looking at the record. So we are on the Giants, but we are on the more popular side, significantly more popular by about 5, 6, almost 660 more picks on the Giants. So. And again, this could be people who put their picks in later and are trying to get the line value because the line has moved from 7.5 to 7. So if you're getting that hook, on a key number of 7, that's you're going to try to take that value. Same thing with the Texans. That's why the Texans are probably so popular. Not only are the Texans very good defense, almost probably one of the best defenses in the league, but the fact that it went from 4.5 to 3.5, you're trying to find that line value, and we've already played 4 games, and there's some real ugly stinkers. I mean, 2 double-digit games, one at 9.5, which is essentially a double-digit game because they got to win by 10. So 3 double-digit games that are not very popular for reasons where people just don't like messing with these games. And you've got some real ugly games. Saints-Dolphins, which we are on. Jets-Falcons, another game between 2 losers. Browns, this is a tough one, even though it's top 5. Titans, are the Jags for real? Are the Titans becoming something? So I'm happy. I'm mad at myself that I used the Chiefs instead of the Packers. And I'm mad at myself that I used the Chiefs and didn't go with my original thoughts on the Cowboys, because I had it right here. I had Dallas minus or plus 3.5, and I scratched it out and swapped it with Kansas City. So, but I also had Philadelphia in my original ones, and they would have lost. So it would have been 2-1. But now we're 0-1. I'll take 2 points with 2 more to go. But so we've got 2 early games with the Colts and the Saints. And then we don't have another game until Sunday Night Football between the Broncos and the Commanders and the Monday night game. So 2 primetime games and 2 early slate games. Hopefully we can get 4 wins and finish this week that started off on the wrong foot back on track. It's I'm sure they've posted the Survivor 13B list now. No, not yet. Surprising. And they have it on the VSiN show. So far, they've only got the millions numbers up. They haven't posted the week 13B of Survivor, which is won't be a lot. There's only 49 entries remaining. What I can't believe is last week, at this far in the contest, there were 2 people who did not submit a pick. Now, if they used all 6 of the teams that were available to them and they literally couldn't place a pick, that's just poor game management. But to make it to this point in the contest and not to submit a pick is just, it's egregious, man. You can't do that. You are in rare air making it to the week 13, making it to the Thanksgiving week. And for 2 people not to submit a pick, if you have a proxy, the proxy would have probably picked at least the most popular pick that you had available to you. Now, obviously, all the favorites lost, so it would have been difficult for a proxy to have picked one of the 4 underdogs, but still, at least a pick would have been submitted. So how did these people not get their picks in? I don't know. Because the proxy would have more than likely communicated with them before the picks were even due, saying you haven't submitted your pick yet, where you at, get your pick in, the clock's ticking. Because you have, like here, I live in Nevada, so I have the most time available to me. I don't have to submit my picks until just before 4 p.m. on Saturday. Now, a lot of these proxies require people to submit their picks on Fridays. That way they can do it, because they got to log in, make sure everything's correct, submit the picks, and then send a response back to the entry, showing that they have submitted the picks for them and that it's the one that they've submitted is the proper pick, which, obviously they got to double and triple check it before they actually hit the submit button. But like, I live here in Nevada. I have the most amount of time available to me, but if they're not using a proxy, that means they live in Nevada. So how do they not get their pick in? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if anybody actually if anybody misses this week. We'll see if anybody misses it this week. Yeah, they still. Let me see. Refresh this. All right, here we go. So now, because obviously there's no more Grandissimo, that's over. So we won't have to talk about that one anymore the rest of the year. But here we go. Week 13B selections for Circa Survivor. Remember, only 49 entries remaining out of 18,600 plus. Like, there's almost 18,700. That's a lot of people to be down to 49 entries at 13B, because you still have, so 13B, you still have 7 more weeks to go, because there's 20 weeks. So yeah, I mean, so the number one pick is the Chargers at +9 or -9.5 against the Raiders. No surprise there. The Raiders have been terrible. They are, not really competing for wins right now. Who knows who's going to play quarterback for them? Their offensive line is bad. This is a division matchup, though, and anything can happen in these games. And of the 49 remaining entries, they're 21, so 42.9%, basically 43% of the remaining field are on the Chargers. If somehow the Raiders can pull it off, this game, there's no way this thing makes it the full 20 weeks. No way. And you've got the Dolphins. We're on the Saints, so I'll be rooting against this group of 7. 49ers 7 against the Browns. That's a tough game. I think I think the Browns beat them in Cleveland a couple seasons ago. It's always difficult going into Cleveland. That's where their defense plays better. What will Shedeur Sanders do against this 49ers defense? We will see. Then we got the Jags with 5. Jaguars taking on the Titans. On the road, though, another division matchup. 6.5-point favorites on the road against a Titans team that's been feisty. They score on special teams, and they're actually not halfway bad in the red zone on defense. And Cam Ward, he's using his legs to give himself extra time, and he can throw off platforms. So Rams with 4 selections. 10.5-point favorites taking on the Carolina Panthers, the always feisty Carolina Panthers, a team that is fighting for the NFC South title. They're right there competing with the Bucks. The Bucks are 6-5, and I think the Panthers are 6-6. So anybody's game in that one. I mean, even the Falcons, if they can win this week, could get themselves back in the conversation if the Panthers and Bucks both lose. So both teams playing for a lot to play for in this one. The Rams, as well as they've been this year, the Seahawks and the 49ers are right on their tails in that AFC West division, and even competing for the number 1 spot in the bye week in the playoffs. Seahawks, big favorites in this game against the Vikings with their free agent quarterback Brosner at home. This looks like a pretty safe space to be in, at least for a win. I know the -12.5 is a big number to be laying after they didn't cover the 13.5 last week. I know because I was on them. They should be able to win this game. Whether they win by margin is a whole nother story. And then one brave soldier on the Patriots, who are taking on the Giants on Monday Night Football. I have the Giants in my contest picks, really hoping that they can somehow pull off the upset and take the Patriots off of this winning streak. The New York Giants have been the New England Patriots like kryptonite, in the last couple of decades. Like, for some reason, even when they play them in the regular seasons, not just like when they meet in the Super Bowl, when they play in the regular season, they seem to play each other tough. So, two teams that are actually quite familiar with each other, even though they're in different conferences. And we're getting Jackson Dart back for the Giants. So, hopefully you can get it done for us. But there you have it. That is 13B after the carnage of Week 13A, where they eliminated nearly 90% of the remaining field. There was just under 1,000 entries when they went into that Thanksgiving slate of 4 games. And when the dust settled, 49 entries remained. But hey, no picks. Look at that. Every single person put a pick in. Yay, after 2 people not putting a pick in last week, nobody missed this week. Smart. Hopefully they got it in immediately as soon as it was available to them, so they didn't have to worry about it. I know some people are traveling for the holiday, but damn, that'd have been egregious to miss that one. But all right, that is the picks. Obviously, there's no grandissimo selections for this week, as that contest has concluded with 6 winners, each getting $1.15 million. Not bad. But all right, we're not going to stick around for the college watch party, as we don't have any parlays or anything going with this one. And honestly, yesterday was my birthday, but tonight I'm going out for dinner. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to start getting ready and going and enjoying a nice meal on Saturday night. Everything was like super busy yesterday, so figured we'd wait one more day. But thanks to everyone for joining me for the live stream. Good luck this weekend with all your picks. Join me on here, YouTube, for the Late Night at the Lounge Monday night after the Monday Night Football game, where we will go over the results of Week 13 as well as what games we like for Week 14. And it seems like I should just be paying more attention to that, because had I done that, I'd be sitting at 2-0 going into Sunday. So be sure to join us right here on YouTube Monday night. But to everybody out there, again, take care of yourselves. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of this holiday weekend. Eat lots of leftovers and enjoy the football. Thank you for watching.